But let's move on, because if you want to make money in this market and you don't want to do a lot of thinking, all you have to do is put your money with some of the best fund managers. And in fact, we've invited one of them on our show today. Motilal Oswal Focused Multi-Cap 35 Fund, as most of us know, is the best performing multi-cap fund in the last 1 year. According to Value Research, if you look at the returns, in 1 year, you've gotten 37% returns versus the Nifty 500 giving you 21% returns. So not only have you beaten inflation, you've even beaten the Nifty 500 if you invested in this fund. Gautam Sinha, the fund manager at Motilal Oswal Mutual Fund, joins us now. Gautam, first of all, congratulations. I understand that your fund completes 3 years in this week, and it has been one of the best performing funds as per Value Research. Now, you've got a lot of stocks right in the recent past, whether it's in the banking or in the auto space, but some of these stocks are now trading at stratospheric valuations. You know, a case is in point, Eicher Motors or something like an RBL Bank. What do you see as the next level of value creation in spaces like these?
I think earnings growth is what will continue to create value, honestly, Sonia, because as you rightly pointed out, valuations have gone up for many of our top holdings, and that definitely is a concern area. And going forward, we cannot obviously bank on those valuations remaining at very high levels. So what we are very focused on is whether these stocks individually and as a portfolio is giving me enough earnings growth going forward to justify holding it at the current price, right? The other thing to realize is that we are long-term holders, and we might be fine with no returns or very low returns in a short period of time, as long as the long-term story is intact. So those two things have to be kept in mind. Also, in conjunction, I think market valuations are somewhat stretched too. So when I am looking at the broader market, whether I am getting obvious opportunities which are much better in terms of prospective returns, no, right? So essentially, these continue to be our top picks and our top holdings because we believe that the prospective returns on a relative basis are still good here.
Gautam, hi, good afternoon. Of course, your fund has done well, but a lot of people believe the real test begins now with the AUMs crossing 6,000 crores. So will be interesting to see from here on. But, I just want to quiz you on pharma space, because, the space has not done well, but the two stocks that you have selected, Jubilant Life and Alchem Labs, as we all know, have done remarkably well. Jubilant in particular has been the standout performer. In pharma space, do you stick with these two names at current valuations, or do you have temptation to look at some of the companies where stock prices have fallen 40 or 50%?
See, in pharma, we are always looking at stock ideas. There are quite a few of them. Without going to specific names, what I can point out is that, at any point of time, there are specific opportunities within pharma, be it mid-cap pharma or, some special complex generics or something like that. So we have to really identify the opportunities as they come. This is a very vast sector, very diverse business models, and thankfully the dynamics is not homogeneous. It's pretty heterogeneous across companies. So far, yeah, we have been able to pick a few of them at the right time, at the right valuations, and it's a process. It continues. We continue to do our research, and hopefully in the future too, we'll keep coming up with such ideas if and when.
Okay, well, one of the stories of 2017 and a stock that you own is RBL Bank. I mean, that story has played out beautifully, whether you call it the new generation private bank or even Vishwavi Rahuja with great credentials, etc. All of that has played out in the stock. But now, given such stratospheric valuations, as a long-term investor, what do you do with stocks like these?
If you look at the private retail banks, they have been gaining market share from PSU banks. I think that's a process that will continue. Of course, it will be spread across multiple players now with the new set of young companies, young banks coming in. So we have created a platter of such companies. We have 3-4 of such names in our portfolios. So effectively, we'll capture that growth going forward too. Okay.
In terms of NBFCs, Gautam, here also you have exposure to a couple of stocks, but you yourself, your company yourself is in this space. what are the triggers here? We have seen a huge rally in stocks like Edelweiss, for example, Motilal Oswal itself. Some of the stocks that you hold like Max Finance, PNB Housing have also done well. Which areas still offer good returns from here?
I think affordable housing is one area definitely. The other area is shift from real estate and gold or physical savings to financial savings. These are clearly the two areas going forward where growth is going to be good, and we are focused there in terms of our portfolios, and we'll continue to retain our focus in these areas going forward too. Besides, very well-run NBFCs which are agnostic to sectors are also going to do well, be it across consumer lending or affordable housing, even LAP. So there are companies which have done well across the asset cycles or across different asset classes. So these are the kind of companies which we'll continue to focus on.
Okay, by the way, I just want to point out the intraday chart of Bharat Forge, because that has really surged over the last 5 minutes and has hit a new high of 1131. Remember, our earlier technical expert Jay Bala gave us Bharat Forge as the top technical trade that he has, and now it's hit a new high. Market cap at almost 30,000 crores now for Bharat Forge. So a pretty stellar run over there. Before we let you go, Gautam, IT is one space that you guys have never been bullish on. In fact, I don't think you hold it in any of your funds. But do you think that there is a point at which you start maybe looking at a contrarian buy in IT, or is that a space you strictly avoid?
So we do have some, special small cap IT holdings which are in niche areas. Again, large cap IT, I think it will take some time to get back into growth mode. But I think the niche areas like IoT or engineering services, their growth is still good. So we are focusing on those areas only. But by and large, yeah, we are hugely underweight on IT. That's right, and that's been the case for the last 2 quarters. Before that, we had reasonable holdings in ITs, but our hypothesis about growth came completely untrue, and we realize now that probably growth is going to be delayed in that, recovery in growth is going to be delayed in that sector by at least a couple of more years, because what is happening is that traditional ADM business, which is losing momentum, has to be replaced by growth in the digital oriented businesses, and which has taken its own time, because digital today is a small component of the overall revenues. The other thing is the revenue bases, the workforce bases of these companies, the large IT companies, are today very large. So making that transition to digital will be a big challenge, will be a slow process, and we'll be closely following that process. If and when we see the prospective returns to be good enough and the growth to be bounding back for IT, definitely it will be a very interesting sector, because classically it's been one of the highest quality sectors in India, and it's something that investors like us are always keeping in the dark.
Very quickly, one last question. So now that you have crossed 6,000 crores, do you change your strategy? I mean, your top 10 stocks have contributed 63% of your portfolio in the past. You've had almost zero cash levels. At current market valuation and current AUM size, do you change that strategy, or that strategy continues?
No, the strategy pretty much continues. The strategy is based on our philosophy of concentrated investing. Of course, we'll have to see what capacity can be deployed in that kind of strategy or philosophy. You don't change the philosophy or the strategy to fit the business needs. It's the other way around, actually. So we have some thoughts around that, how to increase capacity, how to look at how to probably fish in a bigger pond rather than just look at Indian stocks. So we are continuously on it, and so far it's clearly not been a problem for us, and it doesn't become a problem overnight, right? So it will obviously be a continuum, and we are very aware of that. But no changes in the investment philosophy or the concentrated investing style that we follow, for sure.
All right, Gautam. Thanks a lot for your time today, and all the best for next year. Of course, the last 1 year has been quite good for Motilal Oswal Focus 35. But let's shift focus to near-term trading ideas.